Everything I've loved in this world, and even the curse that fell on me too.
Hello everybody, Infinite Shinjo here, welcome to the channel, and today I am going to be listing off my top 5 anime from the 2020s. I initially had a video to discuss my top 10 anime from 2020. I initially had a video discussing my top 10 anime from 2010 to 2019, but I figured since it's so far away from when that year ended and the new decade started, I figured it was kind of out of date to do that. So instead, I decided to list off my top 5 anime from the 2020s. So anywhere starting from winter 2020 all the way up to recent times, anything is on the table. The only catch is I am not including sequel series. So Kaguya-sama seasons, anything My Hero Academia related, any sequel series that weren't the first season, I am not including here. Which pains me because that means Laid Back Camp won't be here either. But before I get started, let me discuss a couple of honorable mentions. The first ones are Bokutachi no Remake and Kimono Jihen. I tried to fit them into the list, but they're probably number 6 and 7. It's going to depend on my mood, depending on which ones they are. So unfortunately, they couldn't make it in. And as well, Spy Family isn't going to be here either. I really wanted to include that, but I went against my better judgment because if I would have included it, it would have been recency bias, so I figured to exclude that. So, with that out of the way, let's get into the top 5. So first at number 5 is Tower of God. I remember really hyping this up back in the day. And to be quite honest, it is still good. I think just the fact that the protagonist is kind of a blank slate does kind of hinder it for me. But overall, the art style is unique. The fights are really cool. It's just a really neat show overall and definitely unique. But it was more recency bias with me that I really liked that show back in the day. That and the fact that nothing else was probably good at that point. Number 4 is Yu-Gi-Oh! 7. So Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 narrowly avoids being excluded from the list. It came out at the start of 2020 and it just finished up earlier this year. It is a really good show. If you want to know my full opinion on it, I'll leave a link to my video in the description where I discuss it. But it's just a really good show overall. I really like the characters. Some of the decisions they went with, I wasn't exactly a fan of. But overall, it's just a really good show. Number 3 is The Day I Became a God. And it's just a really good show. It kind of gives me vibes of Clannad with how it just rips my heart out and pounds it and doesn't care at all. It's a bit of a generic sort of story, but looking back on it, I really liked it, and not knowing where the story was going episode by episode really made it more unique. Number 2 is going to be Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't think I could have made this video without including Jujutsu Kaisen. As obvious as I wanted to be to put Jujutsu Kaisen first, I think number 2 is still very respectable, especially considering the stuff that came before it. Jujutsu Kaisen is just really good. It's not really a deep plot from what I've seen so far. It's just really cool action, really cool shonen, and as someone that's watching Yu Yu Hakusho now, where the animation's a bit rough, the plot is kind of bare bones, it's just really nice to just sit back and relax and watch some good old action, which is exactly what Jujutsu Kaisen is. Now, I haven't seen the recent movie yet. That might bump it up, I don't know, but it's just still really good overall. I think if it was a complete show with what it had and no further seasons or anything, it might be more of a compact story that I would include it at number 1 instead. But just from what I have seen so far, it's really good. And number 1 is Osama Ranking. Like I alluded to with Jujutsu Kaisen before, it seems like Osama Ranking is a very well put together story, and it really seems like a complete story. I honestly wouldn't be upset if nothing else Osama ranking came out. I would certainly not be opposed to it, but just the fact that it's a complete story from start to end, and it's a good story at that. Boji is easily one of my favorite protagonists of all time, and he's not even from a shonen. Osama ranking, like I mentioned with Tower of God, the art style is really unique. The characters are all really likable. This show is just amazing, and a lot of more people need to watch it. Really, you could argue that Osama ranking being at number 1 is more recency bias, but I fell in love with this show from the first episode. I don't think it's a stretch that it's my favorite anime from the 2020s. But that is my video on my top 5 anime from the 2020s. It's a little bit of a shorter video, but I wanted to get my thoughts out simply and didn't want to drag on my discussion from all the top 5. So, if you enjoyed, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you're enjoying from this new decade, and I'll see you next time. Momentai.